Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm excited to jump into a flowy conversation with you about all things true manifesting and receiving. We're going to talk specific to business, to money, to purpose, to life, to you. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. So glad you're here. If you're on replay as well, please do let me know that you're there on replay. Honestly, so many different ideas of what I want to bring through today and what I know will come through, that if I talked about every possible different thing that I would like to talk about or think that I could talk about, we'll turn it into a 10-hour live stream party. So I don't think that's going to happen. So instead, I've said a prayer before I went live that just exactly what is meant to come through for you will come through. And that's the easy way, you guys. That is the way to make business easy. Messaging, purpose work, dropping in, all those things. We don't need to figure it out in our own mind, and indeed we shouldn't. So please do let me know if you're there. Let me know where you're watching from. Hope you stay awake. Well, you're either going to stay awake, regardless what time it is, because you're going to get that fire and flow coming through from me, or alternatively, you'll fall asleep listening and it will just be impregnated into your spirit and into your soul. It's been a minute. Oh, Gina, it's so nice to see you here. All right, so nice to see so many people and faces and names. Mindy, hey, who I know, and lots of people who I don't know as well. So yeah, love to know where you're watching from. If you are on, Toronto, cool. If you are on replay, let me know as well. Laura, hey. Oh, Laura was here with me exactly a week ago, or like a week minus an hour ago, or plus an hour ago. Northern Territory, cool. Okay, so I did not have a particular plan in mind when I decided I'm going to do a live stream event that I'm going to actually, let people know about a little bit in advance, as opposed to just popping up on your screen. And I just had this download on Friday that I'm going to write this big post on receiving and the rules of receiving. And so I wrote a big blog on that, my 12 of my favorite rules of receiving. I wrote that on Friday. You can actually read that on my website. I wouldn't miss it. It's quite a little essay. Hang on, let me just please drop this link. I'll just give Sam that link to drop in the comments to help me out there. So you can read that at thekatrinaruthshow.com/12 rules of receiving, all one word. I just want to mention that because I put quite a bit of time into that blog. I actually wrote it over 2 days, which is a little unusual, just because, I ran out of time, but I wanted to make sure I really got it all through. And honestly, that's the kind of blog that I could turn that into a book, and each rule could be a chapter, and maybe I will do that. I don't know. I say maybe I can do a lot of things. If I did all the content that I'm led to do, then I'll need like 10 of me. So maybe that will be turned into a book. But my point is, don't miss reading that blog, the 12 rules of receiving, or 12 of my favorite rules of receiving. I'm not saying that they're the only 12 rules of receiving. And in fact, if anyone was paying attention, I repeated one of them twice and didn't realize until I read it back myself afterwards. And it was, if you're not dropped in, don't even bother. That was rule number 5 and 7. Except that I wrote a different description with each point, but it obviously matches. So that rule is very important. If you're not dropped in, don't even bother. And in fact, that's a big part of our conversation today. Oh, Rachel, I love you. I'm so glad you're here. So read the 12 rules of receiving. It's on the blog, thekatrinaruthshow.com/12 rules of receiving. I'm really grateful to get to share that blog with you. I think it's very important. And it actually led to me deciding to do this live and just drop into an additional conversation on true manifestation, by which I mean supernaturally correct, biblically correct. That's what I mean by true as opposed to counterfeit. And so I want to teach you and share with you some principles today that are going to directly apply to your life. And this is going to be true, by the way, regardless of where your relationship with God is or is not. But I'm teaching from that perspective as a woman of faith, as a Christian, and as a Christian who's just fascinated with spiritual law and with really understanding how we get to walk forward in our path of destiny in God. And I think one of the things that is very commonly wondered about in the coaching space, in the online business space, is something like manifestation okay? Or is that not just new agey? Or, if even questions like, if I were to really start walking with God, then would that mean that I can't use these different principles or spiritual gifts that I've kind of figured out about myself, etc.? So this is not really a conversation about all of that, actually. That just kind of popped out of my mouth just then. But it's not at the same time, because supernatural law, spiritual law was created by God. Your spiritual gifts, your supernatural gifts are yours. They're not going anywhere. Regardless of how you choose to use them, they're yours. But the way for them to come out fully is to understand true spiritual law and true supernatural law. And for you to be able to walk in your path of destiny would mean going to the source as far as where that came from. Manifestation is literally what is going on all the time in your life regardless. Things are physically manifesting. They're manifesting into the physical realm as a product of what's being happened, of what has been happening spiritually, supernaturally, etc. So today we're going to talk about how to apply rules and laws of the spiritual realm such that you are able to walk forward and see in front of you what you are meant to see. So I'm not here to teach you, I don't know, like arbitrarily how to make millions of dollars for the sake of it or something like that. It's not about your surface-based wants or supposed desires. This is actually a conversation about dropping into the true desires of your heart, the ones that have been imprinted in you, the blueprint of you being you, and then how to see that physically manifest and step into the physical receiving that is ordained for you, that is meant for you on your path of destiny. Now, the reality is that for 99.99% of people who would watch this, who come from the entrepreneur space, the coaching space, the messaging, leader, revolutionary, maverick, game changer space, I don't know, you tell me who you are, but something along those lines. The reality is that on the path of your destiny, if you're here, there's a pretty definite chance that you should be stewarding a lot of money and impacting a lot of people. But it's not about trying to get hold of it for the sake of it. And it's not about trying to grow your business for the sake of it. And it's certainly not about many of the things that as humans we make it about out of fear and out of, a desire to prove ourselves or be seen as good enough or have the right status symbols or whatever it might be. And by the way, I'm not making anything material inherently bad or wrong either, if anyone's wondering. What I'm here to do is to really just hold a mirror up for you to, even more clearly than what you already do, see the true vision of what is there for you, understand and accept that if you're here, then it is going to be more than likely that it's big impact, big money coming through and to and from you, and that there's a higher purpose for all of that, and that there's responsibility there, there's stewardship there's a level of where you're more than likely not remotely unapologetically owning what's actually yours. And maybe some part of you questions, is it bad or wrong for you to say that it should be this with money, with business, with whatever? And then another part of you is wondering whether or not you're good enough or you just made it up in your head. So we're going to clear some stuff up there. And we're also going to be naturally, as a result of this conversation, what you're going to find is we're going to be naturally clearing away stuff that you've been, without even realizing it, you might realize it on some level, trying to grab onto that's not a true dropped-in desire. And so what I mean by that is it's something you kind of grabbed hold of or attached yourself onto from fear, from doubt, from the industry that you operate in, from all of that sort of stuff. And then the truth is, if we would set that aside and we would drop into that place of you truly being you within your own spirit, then we would see, well, that thing doesn't even matter. That was just kind of like to try and be cool, or because some part of you thought that it was going to make you feel safe or free, or even that you should try and grasp onto this sort of a thing. And so we really want to let that stuff sift aside. And I'm not just talking about goals or outcomes, like that sort of desire. I'm talking about where your energy is going, where your time is going, the kinds of offers you're putting out into the world, what you're producing, what you're creating, what you're selling. And we want to really get to that dropped in place where it's like, it's an exhale, yeah? And it's like, there is no question. This is what it's meant to be. This is right. This is what I should be teaching on. This is what I should be sharing. This is what I should be selling. And we've let go those parts where it's like trying to get something, trying to prove something, trying to keep yourself safe, trying to get to a certain point, doing everything relentlessly in your own effort, like your own mind, will, strength, and emotion, which is just cutting off supernatural receiving like craziness. Yeah. So these are some of the things that we're going to cover. There's a particular theme that I'm going to bring in a moment. And what my expectation for you is that you're going to walk out of this time together, which is going to go, I don't know how long it's going to go for. We have no idea, but probably about an hour, give or take. that you're going to walk out with a renewed sense of clarity and purpose around the vision that it's truly time for you to say yes to. You're going to realize that there's been a bunch of stuff just clogging up time, space, and energy, and your focus, attention, pieces of you basically, that's just so not for you. It's so not where your focus needs to be. And you're going to connect to more of what it should be and where your focus and energy should be. And you're going to have a renewed understanding of the literal how of bringing things through to the physical realm from the supernatural. So that's going to be the big theme of what I'm talking about. How it is that things come from the supernatural realm to the physical realm. That's the big theme. So I felt to write this blog, The 12 Rules of Receiving, which I mentioned before. Read it later, thekatrinaruthshow.com/12 Rules of Receiving. I felt to write that late last week because I was thinking about some things that I've been learning more around in my spiritual journey with God, and how sometimes you just feel like you're sifting through so much stuff to get to like the definite thing that it is. And that's definitely part of the process. It's how it's meant to be. You gradually find your way. But I was kind of like, man, it would be so helpful if just someone wrote just these things in order. Like, what are the rules in this particular area, right? And it's a bit of a funny thing because at the end of the day, God is going to show you what you need to see when you need to see it. So no one can put for another person in order, like these are the different rules. However, God does have rules, and those are rules that we're all operating under spiritually and supernaturally, whether or not we believe in God, whether or not we have a relationship with God. It's like physics, if something gets, or gravity or anything, right? If I throw a ball up in the air, I don't need to pray that it should come down in the name of Jesus. I got that analogy off Pastor Kevin L. Ewing. But if you throw a ball up in the air, you don't need to pray or wish or try and manifest that the ball is going to come back down. It's coming back down because of gravity. And so spiritual law works the same way. And it's working in your life regardless. Whatever you have currently in your money, in your business growth, in any different area of your life is a byproduct of things that have been ordained spiritually, and you are operating under spiritual law. So it is going to be an individual journey for you to learn, know, and understand what applies to you and what is true for you. And we can only each go on that journey individually in terms of finding out like, okay, this is relevant for me right now, etc. But at the same time, that's where I got the idea for the blog from. I was like, well, there are definite rules of receiving that I understand after 17 plus years in online business and several decades in business all up. And after mentoring for at least a decade now online, and then in various ways previously to that, specifically mentoring the true 1% of the 1% leaders in the entrepreneur space, specifically those who don't want to follow standard rules of marketing, business, selling, launching, etc., and just feel like there should be a different way. And basically they just don't have it in them to follow those rules either because they're so creative and they're so kind of like dropped in and tapped in and all over the place, and that's where they want to be. And so I know what it looks like when somebody goes from, I don't know, whatever amount of money a month to whatever amount to whatever amount to whatever amount. I've personally coached hundreds of people to where they've produced $1 million businesses that then hold and stay and grow. And as those numbers go up, a smaller and smaller number that I've coached into those higher numbers. And I've been doing that for years. And so many people who came along who were already creating whatever results they were creating, and then basically dropped into an even deeper level of trust, of supernatural receiving, of saying yes to who it was that they were already meant to be. Well, those are the stories. Those are the hundreds of stories that I'm quite well known for, and then the thousands more through my group programs, let alone my private, of people that then quote unquote make that money, have that kind of business, that kind of lifestyle, that kind of freedom, that kind of clear evidence of a person walking their purpose, walking forward in their purpose. And I think that's what we're really here for. How do I walk further forward in my purpose? Yes, why is it that money's not working, or why is it that business is not working like I think that it should be, or why is it that this area feels blocked or trapped or whatever it might be, or delayed, all of those things. But ultimately, I think that what we're here for is how can I drop in on who I'm really meant to be? Because in the place where I'm being where I'm meant to be, these things show up for me. Amen? Can we get an amen on that? In the place where I'm meant to be, these things show up for me. So let's begin with this. Oh, and I will let you know as well that, of course, I'm going to give you an invite to my new 6-week live course, which is for entrepreneurs, leaders, mavericks, game changers, rule breakers who understand that there are rules that actually apply, that they want to apply, and those are not the rules of like your industry or your niche or marketing or whatever you think it should be. So that's my Play Life Rule Breaker Society. It's my brand new 6-week course. It is a business, entrepreneur, money-based course. It's all around what actually needs to be in place right now for you to see your business grow and flow to where it should be, to where it should already be. So basically like, all right, let's snap it in from the supernatural, because that's the foundation of the how, to the practical reality in the physical realm of where it should already be, because we don't want to sit here taking 2 years to catch up, and that's not how we should be doing it. It's not like, oh man, like I should already be here, so now I've got all this stuff I've got to do to get there. That's not how I teach business. This is a business course. It's for entrepreneurs, it's for leaders, it's for mavericks, it's for game changers, it's for way makers, it's for that true 1% within the 1% creative entrepreneur who is just not going to do all of the let me go and build it according to the so-called rule stuff, because you deep down believe and know that you don't have to do that stuff. And then you simultaneously question and wonder, maybe I'm like completely full of it and I do have to do all of that stuff, but you just can't seem to bring yourself to it. So I'm really here to tell you today, you're right. You don't have to do it that way. What you suspect is true. There is a way where it actually should just show up. That is not selfish. It is not diva. It is not being delusional. It is not fantastical. It is fact that your business, your money, how everything operates in your life should be flow. It should be ease. It should be fun. That's not to say there's not, exertion, etc. You know what I mean? It's the place that it comes from, yeah? So it's not fantasy. It is fact that it should be flow and ease. And it is fact. Why am I talking so fast? I'm talking like Kat. You have to watch me on replay and slow me down. This is my normal speed. I'm going to get faster, FYI, because we're just getting warmed up. It is fact, not fantasy, that your business is meant to be flow and ease. It is fact, not fantasy, that it should just snap to where it's already meant to be. That's a reality. So I really need you to hear that. And that's regardless whether or not you want to come work with me personally for the next 6 weeks in my crazy, hell yes, no low cost, no brainer offer, whatever I call it, which is the Play Life Society. There's a comment about it there over on Facebook. And if you're on Instagram, the link is thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. It's the Play Life Rule Breaker Society. It's a brand new 6-week course. It's going to start today / tomorrow, Monday in the US. Let's tear it all down and do something actually fun and take your business from boring and blah and just like tapped out and feeling like it's all off base and why is it not working, to truly flowing. Can't take my eyes off her. I'm coaching female entrepreneurs here, but if you're a man, you're welcome to join. In just 6 weeks. So we're going all in, firstly on the supernatural side of it, the understanding, the identity side of it, and the knowing that you do already know that it actually should just snap into where it's meant to be. You're right about that. You're right about that. And I'm going to show you exactly how. I'll be teaching a little bit about that today. That's exactly what I'm teaching a little bit about today. But in the Play Life Rule Breaker Society, we'll be going all in on that with a blueprint for you. And then we will be looking at exactly what the practical how is in the different areas of your business. So this is a very hands-on practical course as far as, okay, well, where are your clients going to come from? What is your social media meant to actually look like for you? What should the marketing be? How should the flow launch look, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the supernatural, the identity, the inner game side of things. And then it's bringing it through and putting it into place and putting it into practice. And anyone who's worked with me understands that how my courses work is you just start snapping in to where you're meant to be. And it's difficult to even explain because it can't be explained in the mind. It starts snapping in, and then the things that need to be in place in a physical, practical sense, they will come through. They'll be put in place, and I'll be showing you how to find the unique blueprint for you of your own spirit, your own inner knowing, your own inner witness, your own green light within. And so this is exciting. We're going to be looking at how the dance actually works of saying yes to all of you, such that it translates on repeat to business growth. So the course is at thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. Maybe somebody can drop a link on Instagram for me, and I'll put one up on the replay though. It just is tricky for me to do while I'm actually live. Sam might pop one up at some point, but otherwise thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. And so you can read all about the course, you can read about all the different things that I'll be covering in there, what it's going to look like, what you can expect, and what sort of outcomes are you going to walk out with as a result of that. It is going to be so much fun, by the way, and I do this sort of course. About once a year, I'll do a new course that's on the kind of like edgy, raw, unapologetic, like, yeah, let's tear stuff up and go all in on that raw, real, be fully thing. And they are always my best courses. The previous ones exist. You can buy them home study. You'll be able to buy this one home study afterwards as well. This is a low cost, no brainer offer. This is a low cost course. It's a 6-week live course. I'll be in it, Facebook group. I'll be teaching live. Don't ask me when the live teaching times are because I only ever announce them week by week. That's how I do it. And I account for the fact that my clients are all around the world, dominantly in the US. Thank you, several people putting the links in. I appreciate that. These are always my favorite courses. Whenever one comes around, they're always extremely fun. They're extremely exciting. They're extremely result-based because things just start snapping in straight away. And the reason why these are my best courses, thanks Jess, thank you everybody. The reason why these are my best courses is because when I create a course like this, there's a reason for it, you guys. Does anyone know what the reason is? It's because I'm just going to tell you, it's because I'm stripping stuff back and I'm going to that next level of being Kat. And that's a journey that's never complete. Thank you, Lord, I'm still living and breathing, so it's an ongoing journey currently. So whenever I'm going through a period of tearing stuff up, stripping it off, having it stripped off me, noticing and realizing the ways in which I started to submit to should, or even like fear coming in, or just overthinking or whatever it is. And then I start going in. I look at my history. I look at the tens of millions of dollars that has been produced from flow in my business. I look at how my clients operate and how powerfully I'm able to impact them. I come back to God. I come back to my own spirit, my inner knowing, my truth. I let it all set. I let it all settle. And then I always just like, boom, fire forth to the next thing. Well, whenever I'm in that transition of stripping and expanding, landing and expanding, I create a course around it. And I create one that is so from my own raw, open spirit that it just is immediately an activation into yours. And these are my best courses. So this is the current one. I'll be doing a lot of this work alongside you, so you'll be getting to see exactly what I'm doing in my business, in a multi-8-figure business. And of course, I'll just be sharing anything and everything that you would want to know. I'm always a big fan of I overpromise and I over deliver. It's not a strategy. It's just because that's how it comes out. And whatever I say, I always add more to. So if I say 6 weeks, it's probably an 8-week course. If I say I'm teaching this many things, I'll add in whatever else we find on the journey together when we go in together. And then we go, oh, we can talk about this as well now. There's also some cool bonuses. There's a cool upfront bonus. There's cool other bonuses for everyone. So go to the KatrinaRuthShow.com/Play Life Society. I'm going to be dropping our foundation work in the next several hours after this, actually, which is basically like your strip back, raw prep stuff that's going to get you set for when we begin week 1, which is beginning this week as well. And we're going to run for minimum 6 weeks. The first live time will be announced for later this week as well. And yeah, I do vary my live training times to account for the fact that my clients are all around the world. And so you're going to attend quite a lot of them live. You might have 1 or 2 that's middle of the night for you, but you'll get the replay, obviously. Ton of other things there on the page, KatrinaRuthShow.com/Play Life Society. So don't miss that out. Go grab a hold of that. I think there's 1 or 2 premium spots left as well, by the way, if you did want to jump on and do a personalized Zoom with me going into all the intricacies of your business in addition to the course. So I'll leave that there for you. I'll leave the comment. I'll mention it again later. So let's have some water. Let's talk about the big topic or theme which God really showed me for today's conversation, because there are all these different areas and I'm not sitting here to try and work through every element of spiritual law. We'd be here for a good 12 months or so if I was going to do that, and we still would just be getting warmed up. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to talk about one of the key concepts that is so critical for you to understand and to drop back in on a daily business in your walk forward on your path of destiny, which should rightfully be in God and according to his purposes. So we want to really have that understanding, firstly, that you didn't come here arbitrarily. If you're here in my space, you know that. You do have a purpose. God just gave me such a powerful statement on the weekend, though, that really, you know, when something just smacks you in the face. And I know I'm talking to people here who are believers, not believers, or have various elements of trauma or healing that needs to be done relevant to things that have been taught to them or said to them or have happened to them in their life, relevant to God or relevant to religion, church, etc. And so I'm just going to ask you to just listen and receive in the way that your spirit needs to receive today, because I'm not trying to segment my audience. I'm not trying to speak only to this kind of people group or this people group or this people group, yeah? I'm speaking what I'm shown to speak and what God puts through me. And I'm trusting and believing, and I prayed also before I went live, that it's just going to come through as it's meant to come through. And you're going to have an understanding of what I'm saying regardless where your spiritual walk is, because the reality is that pretty much everything that's being taught out there as far as manifestation or receiving in the New Age, in the coaching world, which is almost interchangeable with the New Age world, depending where you look, is based on true principles. And it's often taught, well, it is being taught as a counterfeit version, essentially, is the short version. So it's not going to be stuff you never heard, but you might be hearing it in a different way. And there'll be a piece about it and an understanding about it that, okay, this is what it actually is. Because the reality is, I'm going to tell you this statement that God gave me in a minute, but I was having dinner with a friend last night. A good friend of mine came over and I cooked dinner for the two of us. And I was saying to her, you know, the reality is that when we've been doing quote unquote manifestation or receiving or flow and ease without God at the center for all of those years, where I was, for example, I had God in my life, but I didn't have him rightfully at the center where he should be. And so I was slipping and sliding all over the place. Well, I was producing results and teaching true principles that worked around receiving, around manifestation, etc. But the reality is, and I know a lot of you right now are experiencing this in your life, and you can admit it to yourself. You don't have to admit it in the comments if you don't want to, but you can admit it to yourself, that even when you've had those results come in and it is flow and it is ease and it is, oh, like it's working, etc. And there's an understanding there that, yeah, like it is the belief stuff and it is the speaking it to life and it is something about going into the supernatural, and then I bring it through the physical, and how am I even doing that? And some people have a deeper understanding of the how of that and some don't. Personally, I've always been very gifted to translate that and share that, and I also have studied quantum physics extensively, and I've then studied the biblical side of that extensively as well, but I still think it's probably like very tiny. I don't want to imply that I think I know it all. I certainly don't know it all, but I've always been drawn to understanding these things, and so I, like many of the people that I've also coached, have a pretty decent understanding in some ways. But the reality for me, and I know that this is true for many of you watching, is that before I allowed God to convict me and truly put my life on track for my path of destiny, I was producing results from manifestation, receiving principles, flow, ease, etc. And I was coaching and mentoring others to do the same. And I was doing it all based on true principles, except it was like a skew-whiff version of, or a surface level version of, or a counterfeit version of, or a grayscale version of, a limited version of, or whatever you want to say, right? And so underneath it all, there was just this kind of like it was a fight underneath it. There was a lingering thing underneath it all that I got pretty good at, like, it's not really there, I'm fine, because look, I keep producing these results. But underneath it all, there was just this awareness that you're not quite on track, Kat. You're not actually deeply grounded. You're trying to produce the ground as you move forward on the ground. Does anyone ever feel like you're trying to produce the ground as you move forward on the ground? And you're telling a good story, and your results in some ways probably seem to reflect that something good is going on, and then in other ways it's like, what on earth is happening over there? But through it all, there's just this undercurrent of, well, to put it simply, not total peace. Not total peace. There's a slight disease, or there's something in your spirit that's just not settled, or there's a wonderment, or there's just a flat out in your face knowing that this is not actually the true thing. There is a deeper, truer truth, a finite truth, and this is not it. And I'm producing a version of it. So for me, that call, which has always been in my life since I was a little kid, was to surrender fully to God. And the reason I didn't do that, short version, is because I thought I had to be perfect in order to surrender to God, and I just had a whole bunch of deceit that was up in my head. So I just my head is spinning every single day at how difficult I made my life compared with just like what actual flow and ease means. So I was saying to my friend last night, as I was cooking dinner for us, I was saying, yeah, it's the difference between you believe all this stuff and it's working and you have these different results and it is flow and ease and it is receiving and it is manifestation, whatever. It's the difference between that and just, oh, I am completely at peace in my spirit, regardless what's going on or not going on in the environment, in the physical, yeah? And I am in complete, unshakable certainty of who I am, whose I am, where I'm going, and that my true full destiny in all areas of my life, and we're dominantly talking business, money, purpose, work, etc. today, is going to unfold. There's no maybe here, and there's also no, oh yeah, it's going to unfold, but then this undercurrent of like, am I actually okay spiritually? Am I actually okay? I mean, if you're asking that question, you're not okay. It's a reality. Yeah, you know whether or not you're okay. If you're asking the question, somewhere in your spirit, am I actually okay? Is this actually okay? Am I where I'm meant to be? Am I truly walking my path? You know or you don't know. If you're asking, there's something to sort out there. So it's the difference between that and just, oh, I am completely got here, like completely taken care of. Absolute peace, infinite certainty that just can't be taken away. Doesn't mean I know every different thing that's going to unfold in my week or the next season, let alone the freaking day, because I don't. So it's more in the void than ever. And we understand about the void, but it's absolute peace in the void. Am I religious? I'm Christian. I'm a follower of Christ. I'm a born again believer. So I'm teaching supernatural and spiritual law through biblical principles. And just shortly, quickly, a lot of people thinking that the supernatural, spiritual, manifesty, receivey side of things is somehow like anti the Bible or God. No, the opposite is true. That's what we're talking about. That's where it came from. So there's a big difference, yeah? It's the difference between loosely understanding or even quite like deeply understanding and embodying principles of receiving, manifestation, being supernaturally anointed and appointed, etc., having a knowing, discernment, seeing, sensing, all of that stuff. It's the difference between working with those gifts to whatever capacity you do and seeing the results that do, quote unquote, flow. But yet underneath it all, there is this undercurrent of, let's be honest, fear, doubt, worry, anxiety. Is this okay? Am I okay? It's the difference between all of that and, oh, I have no idea what's happening next, except I know everything that's happening is exactly as it's meant to be. I know with absolute certainty that these and these and these and these things which I have been shown so far about my destiny and the path I'm here to walk, oh, those things are happening. Like it's not, there is zero doubt. There is absolute peace. You don't know actual peace till you know actual peace. And you are just totally able to rest. And what's crazy is your life could be blown up. Some of you need to join the Play Life Rule Breaker Society with me and spend these 6 weeks with me restoring your business and snapping it, because we're talking snapping and switch flicking, activating to where it should already be. Some of you need to have some stuff that really blows up and is like put on a bonfire for that to happen. You want to hold on to that? You want to try and drag stuff from that world into this world? Good luck with that. Don't do that in my course. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay, so some of you actually need to come in not just because you want quantum results and you know that they're possible and available and you're ready for your next quantum leap. Pretty much by definition, if you're ready for your next quantum leap, there's stuff that's there that can't come here. So we're going to be addressing that. And then we look at, cool, what is the stuff to sell and create and market and sell and the flowy, fun way to do social media. So we're really here to talk about the difference between quote marks flow and ease and figuring out, quote marks, how to manifest and receive. Difference between that and absolute dropped in peace in who you are, whose you are, that you are taken care of, that you are spiritually secure, that you are being who you're meant to be, that you therefore by definition, so long as you stay this path of truth, are going to see what is for you show up. And if you're here, then I can tell you that what is for you, yes, you're right. The things you've been shown are true. It does include stewarding big amounts of money, big amounts of impact, platform, growth, legacy, you name it. But the wonderful, beautiful news is it's not because you pushed some stuff up a hill for long enough that you finally got to the top of the hill and then you realize that, holy crap, it was just like a little deviation of the hill and you thought that was the top and now it keeps going forever and you've got to keep pushing forever. It's not that. It is not that. Amen. So the statement God gave me though, because we are here to talk about your purpose work. There's an understanding in this industry. There's an understanding that when I figure out what my purpose work is, when I say yes to my purpose work, when I say yes to being who I'm meant to be, when I just do what I'm meant to do, then it should all have to work, right? It just works. Isn't that the rule? Why is it not quite working? And what God said to me over the weekend is, Your purpose is to be in me. That's your purpose. Your purpose is to be in me. Stop looking for your purpose. I heard God say, stop looking for your purpose. Stop looking for your purpose as though it's a thing for you to do. Stop looking for your purpose as though it's a book for you to write. This is my journal. Or something for you to figure out in your journal and then create and then bring to life. Or it's an elevator pitch, or it's a bio, or it's, oh, I do mainly identity work, or I teach mainly on the supernatural, whatever, or I work with entrepreneurs who are the driven true 1% within the 1%. Like, these things are all true for me, but that's not my purpose. My purpose, your purpose is what you were designed for. Yes, that's what your purpose is. I'm leading in, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, I'm leading into the understanding of how to go into the supernatural realm, the spirit realm, and bring back to the physical realm what is yours and what is meant to be in the physical realm. So that is going to be relevant to your business, your finances, your flow, and truly your life in every different area. So let's talk about purpose first, though, because a lot of the time what's happening is people are trying to go into the spirit realm, have an understanding of what's available for them spiritually and supernaturally, and manifest back some kind of results like money or business growth or whatever as a result of, loosely let's put it, saying yes to who they're meant to be. Okay, if I find my purpose, if I find who I'm meant to be, and therefore what I'm meant to do as an entrepreneur, like what my message should be, what I'm meant to be creating, selling, serving with, etc., and then I show up from that place of trust and belief, and I have a good vibe where I'm having a good time and I'm having fun being me, then that's how it works. Well, something works when you do that. Like, it works to some sort of a degree, but it's the feeling of you're always running underneath it all. Like, it looks like you're smoothly sailing along maybe on the surface of it, and underneath it all you're just frantic. So your purpose is actually to be in rest, in truth, in surrender, in worship of who designed you. That's your purpose. From that place, you are able to see the different things that you should, and I mean should in the right sense this time, not should like somebody telling you should do this in your marketing or whatever, but you should, the things you actually should, like on a spirit level should, walk forward with, meaning create, write, speak, market, sell, produce, bring to life, serve with, embark upon, go on a journey on, or in any way give time or attention to. And in that place of being in your purpose, you're also going to be able to see the how, the literal how. How was it or how is it that that thing goes to life? How is it that that provision was given? How is it that this piece of legacy work actually came to the market and was successfully, alignedly, divinely, correctly sold, brought to a place of growth, etc., yeah? So what I'm talking about is there is a literal location, there is a physical location where your next level, your quantum leap, your points of your destiny and your path here on earth that haven't yet physically been brought to fruition, physically manifested, there is a location for these things. There is if you are divined and aligned, ordained to have $1 million business, for example, just to use an easy catch statement, that does apply to most people here. That's a reality because of the service that you're meant to be doing in the world and the people you're meant to be impacting and the work that should come through you when you're in your purpose, which is being in God. So who already knows you're meant to have $1 million business? Like, that's the little gateway beginning of it. Some people are already there. So next level, $1 million business, whatever, tens of it, hundreds. It doesn't matter, right? We really got to get over this thing of making money bad or wrong. It's just numbers. It's whatever you assign to it. It's no harder to produce more money than less money unless you're not doing it in the correct way. If you're doing it in the incorrect way, which is basically idolizing money or business, idolizing fame or engagement, idolizing status, or trying to get these things in your own mind, your own will, and your own emotions, your own efforts and strength, that's where money is bad or wrong. That's where business can be bad or wrong. That's where most of how you're doing life can be bad or wrong. But can we just get past the thing about, like, money is not finitely bad or wrong or anything. It's what you're assigning to it, how you're seeing it, and definitely it's whether or not you're trying to get it, as opposed to whether you're being the version of you who's operating in and from the location where your path of destiny has unfolded, which FYI, for you guys, me, and pretty much anyone who's going to watch this on replay, happens to include what most people would consider big amounts of money, which is whatever. Whose numbers are we comparing it to? Who's in charge of how much is a lot of money? $1 million, $100 million is nothing to God. I'm not here to try and teach you how to get rich for the sake of it. I don't teach anybody how to get rich for the sake of it. Yet my clients are millionaires, multimillionaires, and decamillionaires, or whatever the statement would go, and even beyond. Because I work with the called ones who say yes to their calling. And then we get on path, and then those things have to show up. Because why? Because the person goes into the location where it exists. Am I making sense? Are you hearing me? So really, if anybody's here where any part of you is wondering, is it spiritually bad or wrong to think that a lot of money should be coming through your business, or that your business should have big impact, or that your books should be on bookshelves all around the world, or that you should have a top ranking podcast or show, or that you should be on the biggest platforms with the biggest people talking the biggest message, or that you somehow know, you just know that right now, if you were put in front of and in charge of coaching Oprah, Tony Robbins, anyone, the president, whoever, I'm not trying to use people based on what I think about any different person, I'm just trying to use different names. You know that if you were put in front of the biggest movers and shakers in this world, whoever that would be, that you would totally be able to be of massive service to them right now. And you know this, you just know it. In fact, you think at times the problem is, the issue here is that you should actually already be at the top, and that it's, and this is not your ego, by the way, and that it's beneath you for you to be needing to build or climb or grow this little thing down here. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't need to be where you're at, and sometimes we need to do the smaller things, and humbling is always the vibe, because when we humble ourselves and when we lay down our own will, our own emotions, our own mind, our own ideas of who or what we think we should be or where we think we should be, then we're able to receive what's for us. But at the same time, some of you are sitting there thinking, why am I here? I should be in front of this person and this person and this person. And then you're like, it's like being egotistical or whatever. No, it's actually a spirit telling you what you're already capable of. So some people really need to hear the message that if you have an awareness that your business should be making millions upon millions of dollars, that you should be having an impact that goes out around nations, that your books should be on bookshelves everywhere, that your podcast should be top ranking number one, in its category, etc., that you should be put in front of the biggest movers and shakers of the world because you actually can see something inside of them that they need to hear. You can break something inside of them that needs to be broken. You can wake something inside of them with what comes through you. It's not actually about you. Let's remember that. This is about you walking your path of destiny. You got to just set aside the idea that maybe some part of that is wrong, or maybe it's you having a wrong focus, or maybe that's, your values are skewed, or you're even idolatry or something. Maybe you are. But actually, if you are, that does not make it finitely wrong that you're going to be stewarding a lot of money, having a lot of money coming through you, having a big, powerful business that is being worked through you. It's just that you had an awareness of your vision, your destiny, your truth, your purpose, and then what you did was try and go make it happen yourself and get into an attachment and an idea that if those things don't show up, or if they're not showing up, or if you can't demonstrate them now, that it says something about your worth, your value, your identity, your success, and whether or not people should think any sort of thing about you. So what you did is you took a true vision or a knowing, an insight into who it is you came here to be and what should show up, rightly show up in your life. And then you took it upon yourself to go and make it happen or get it happening. And then because it's never quite, I don't care, some of you are already making millions of dollars. I coach you, you know who you are. Because it's still never quite where you really know in your spirit that it should be. And you're just never quite there still. And there's always an awareness of more, even when it is flowing. Because of that, then the focus has gone off where it should be, which is you being dropped in that spiritual realm, in God's spirit, with your own spirit being rightfully led, guided, and fed. And the focus has gone from there, or it never was there, as the case may be. And the focus has gone on to creating, pushing, fear, doubt, uncertainty, proving, etc. But it doesn't make the underlying vision incorrect. Okay? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Put aside right now every idea of how you thought you were going to get there or what you think you are currently beholden to that you can't walk away from. Whatever you think you can't walk away from or else, guess what? You just identified the thing that you definitely better walk away from. And the freedom is on the other side of that. And seeing what's really there for you is on the other side of that. So I want you to put aside all of your ideas, all of your push, all of your try, all of your I have to get here now, I have to be here now, I have to produce this now, I need money out of thin air right now, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And so I'm going to do this, and push, and then fear, and then, now I'm not keeping up or measuring up or catching up, or like just put it all aside. And let's come into this one key truth, this key teaching for today, which is there is a physical location where the things that are for you exist. There is a physical location where the things that are for you exist. Not physical like physical realm, a literal location. A literal location. The things that are for you exist in a literal place. Now, yesterday, I went in a float, you know, one of those float bathy things where you just float around, like bobbing around in a little cupboard, basically. You step into the place I go, it's like you go into the bathroom and then there's a secret cupboard on the wall. You open the cupboard and you climb into the cupboard. So it's not full coffin float. I don't really care for that, to be honest, but it's close. Like it's a tiny little room. And then at the start, it's lit up a little bit with a blue light and stars on the ceiling. It's pretty. And then the music and the light goes off after 10 minutes. And then you're just in pitch blackness in the magnesium. And I just kept hearing this one statement over and over again through the 1 hour float, which was that God was saying to me, relevant to my own journey, where you're going, those things can't come. Where you're going, those things can't come. Now, I'm about to explain to you the literal location supernaturally of the things that you know are for you. So this is the next level, the quantum leap of your business, your money, your life, your own relaxedness, and your actual flow and ease. Yeah, this is the actual manifestation that you know it's time for. So God kept saying to me, where you're going, these things can't come. And then part of it was where we're going, where I'm taking you, where you're going, that version of you can't come. This is not like a new concept to me or probably to anyone, because we know that in order to go to the next place, we can't bring parts of how we were showing up, our behavior, our beliefs, certain things we were holding on to, our own attachments or fears or ideas of how we think we need to create. You know, a common thing with entrepreneurs, particularly actually those who've created success, is that they assume, and I have to strip this off myself all the time, many times over the years, assume that the next level is going to have many of the same principles of this previous level. Well, if you're talking the kind of like physical principles, like how you marketed or sold or made the money or whatever, make no assumptions that the next level is going to be based on the same sort of system. The system will be that you went into the place supernaturally where you no longer needed to look for the answer because the answer existed there. That's where it was. That's the literal location of it. And so therefore you saw it. So you went into the location. People are doing this left, right, and center, whether or not they're doing it with God, they're doing it, right? True version, all the way version, safe version spiritually, version that's actually going to lead to your true blessings, inheritance, everything that's for you in your path of destiny is in God. But the principle is going to work anyway, because spiritual law is spiritual law. It's going to work anyway. Work. Quote marks. Yeah? I could say a lot about that. So when people have experienced flow, ease, quantum level receiving, they're out there teaching it and they're evidencing it as well, then what's happened is that at some point along that journey, whether it was deliberately, like from an understanding, consciously more so done, or whether they accidentally fell into the flow lane basically and just slipped over the edge into the void, either way, however it happened, they went into the literal place where that next level, that result, that point on your destiny pathway existed. And then they brought it back to the physical realm by virtue of their beliefs and their expression of it, essentially. So some people figured out pretty much, sort of, how to do that on repeat and a bit of a process around it. Anyone who's figured that out in any capacity understands that the next level doesn't look like the previous level if you're talking about replicating the physical principles, because it's not going to be that how the first million was made is necessarily how the second or the 10th or the 100th is made. It's not, oh, this is always how I do the marketing thing, the growth thing, the audience thing, the whatever thing. Instead, it's the principle is the thing that is going to be repeated is that I handed over everything I thought, everything that I was trying to figure out or do in my own will, mind, and emotion, and I went in to the spirit realm, whether or not the person's saying it that way, that's what happened. I went in to the literal location where that next level, that quantum leap exists. That's the location of it. So I went in there and I essentially became it, saw it, believed it. Oh, that's what it is. Identified it, said yes, expressed it. Some people understand this to some degree. Some people are doing a shallow or counterfeit version of it. Some people are doing a real version of it. Some people understand it, experience it in their lives, and then fear gets a hold of them or old patterns simply creep up and they drop back into the do mentality and societal constructs, essentially, of how we've all been brought up by the world at large to say that success works like this, or that it's your effort and your exertion and so on, and that it's all these things that you just deep down inside of you know that it's not. So for whatever reason, typically, even when people figure this stuff out, they start defaulting back, some more so than others, yeah? Either way, there is a literal location. There is a literal location for where the next things that are for you exist. So put aside all of your ideas of who you thought you had to be and what you currently have been thinking you need to do in order to be safe with money, or just go and grow and flow your money to the next place, or really bring in those kind of clients, or really have your business operate in such and such way, or really bring the bigger work to life in a way where it's seen like this, known like this. Just put it all aside. In particular, put aside any fears or ideas of it being bad or wrong, or that maybe you've made it up, maybe those things are not really for you, maybe this is as far as you get, etc. Please, we know that that's not as far as you get. Like, let's just be real. Yeah, let's be spirit real about this. So put that aside. Put aside the awareness that you have that there's like attachy energy there, and there's holding on, and there's chaos, or there's stuff where you just keep getting derailed into overthinking or busyness or anxiety, or hang on, maybe I should do my social media like that, or whatever that is. Put all of that aside as well. And what we're going to keep, because this can come with us, that can come with us. Where we're going, that can come. Where we're going, that attachy, fear-based, do it like everyone else, or do it even like previous version of me, or do it only on my own strength, effort, and exertion, that version, you're not coming. Not where we're going. What can come, what should come, are the parts where, even though you maybe don't know the specifics, the details, you know that this thing is for you. So I want you to just close your eyes if you're not already, and just exhale intentionally, and just ask yourself, or state to yourself, what are the parts that you know just are for you? You don't have to know how. So I'm going to give you some examples. It would mean, like, it is for me that I'm going to write so much, and that my writing is going to go out to huge amounts of people all around the world. It is for me that I have a message to share that transcends me. It is for me that I will speak on huge stages or platforms around the world, or it is for me that I'll have my own, stadium filled events. It is for me that I should have a vibey, flowy podcast that just speaks on these and these and these sort of topics. But I'm not asking you to answer right now, even to yourself, how it comes to life, or what it's meant to produce for you. Like, let go the bits about that's how I'm going to make money, or that's how my business is going to grow. Put those bits aside. Those bits are not coming with us, okay? We're not trying to take those bits with us into the spirit place, the spiritual realm, because when you are in the place where your destiny unfolded exists, those things already eventuate. So you don't need to bring with you an idea of how it was that you produced money or business growth, because you are not meant to be producing money or business growth. You are meant to be in the location of being fully you which is where that money and that business growth exists, and you don't need to produce it. Who needs to hear this today? This replay will stay up on Instagram and on Facebook afterwards. Okay, so put that aside. So you're not bringing that into the place. What you're bringing in, what you're saying, yes, this would come with me, God, this is coming with me. This just obviously is like, it's literally part of me. It can't not come with me. Is the simple stuff that I just said, whatever that is for you. So it's something like, it is for me, it is part of me that I'm just going to write a lot. It is for me, it is part of me that I have a message to share. It is for me, it is part of me that I will be speaking on stages, whether they're virtual or physical, or maybe you just see and know already what it is, that are huge or that are the most powerful in the world. What about it is for me that I will be counsel to in some way, or an advisor or a mentor to the most powerful people in such and such industry in the world, or whoever you want to insert in there, the kinds of people that you just know that you, like I've always known before I had any physical evidence or right to think such a thing about myself. I just knew I meant to be speaking truth into the heart, soul, and spirit of leaders, of revolutionaries, of the ones who lead and, play that huge game for others at whatever they do in a multitude of industries, not just online. I knew that about myself when I was an awkward, clumsy, didn't even know how to present herself as a grown-up little girl, well, in an adult body. I don't mean like an actual little girl. I knew it then as well. But I was a mess in my fitness, in my finances. Not in my fitness. I was not a mess in my fitness. I was a mess in my finances. I was a mess in my business at the time. I was a mess in my ability to walk into a room and feel like a grown woman or feel like I fit in. I felt self-conscious. I felt insecure. I just felt like I'm not like the others and not in a good way. I just felt like I never kind of get it right, or I was insecure, and I just never seemed to know how to do my hair or anything like that. Still don't really do my hair. But the point is, I didn't have any wherewithal, like physically I didn't appear to be the person that should be mentoring and speaking into the hearts, lives of the true 1% within the 1% leaders. And yet I knew it though. I knew that I should be, and I knew that I could. And I knew that anytime that did happen, which actually would happen quite a lot, just inadvertently, like at dinners and whatnot, dinner parties and that sort of thing, you could put anyone in front of me. Freaking hotel mogul, person that owns all this stuff all around the world, highest of the high people in the financial world. I was at some crazy dinners, you guys. I've always had some good connections. And it would just happen naturally. I'd be seated across from someone or next to them or talking, over a drink afterwards or what have you. And it's the questions I would ask. And I would just pierce the person. And their face would just fall and you would just see it. And the facade or the deep true desire would just come through. And I just had an ability to speak life into that person for them to re-harness and activate that truest part of who they were, regardless of the crazy success and the awesome stuff that they'd built. And not only that, they would then go and do it. Huge people from so many different industries, in the business world, the financial world, the hospitality world. I mean, like the serious moguls and power players. This was all before I even had an online business, you guys. And yet I was a little girl, basically, in my ability to run my own life and even my physical, like how I presented myself. So there are certain things about who you are that you just know. These things are coming with you. What are they? What are the things that are coming with you? Don't try and make it about, it's this way that I make money. Or it's this thing that I must build in my business, or it's this thing that I must market, or it's, that I have to get my social media to whatever. That's not coming with you, because you're not meant to be figuring out the answers. You're not meant to be building the thing in your own steam. Do you get it? You already know this, yeah? The flow bits that you have experienced are evidence of that, and that's a version of it only. So let's get to the real thing. Can we skip to the good bit? Yes, we can. All right. Tell me what you're thinking. I love to know as you watch this, or if you watch this on replay, it would just mean the world to me if you leave me a comment and let me know what most spoke to you. that sort of thing. If there's anything that you found like such a fascinating topic that you'd like to know more on, let me know. I might make a reel about it or something. But I like to look at my comments later and just hear what spoke to you and what really was an awakening or an activation or an aha or a punch in the face that you needed. Okay, so we're going to go into the place. This is how you do it. This is how God wrote it. This is how it is. You go into the literal location where your destiny expressed exists. It is not in the location of you endlessly trying to push everything up a hill, and it is also not in the location of the fact that you figured out that there are just huge things for you in your life and your destiny, and you are correct about that. As we've said, you're correct, you're correct, you're correct. You are meant to write a lot, you are meant to speak a lot, you are meant to speak on the world's biggest stages, or whatever your stuff is. I'm kind of saying my own stuff, obviously. You know, you are meant to mentor and be counseled to, and just like in there with such and such most amazing, incredible people. What else are you meant to do? Feel free to share. Right? These fundamental concepts that is just true to you being you. It all really comes back to some version of you have a message to share. It all really comes back to some version of there is something that's coming through you that the world needs to hear. That's what it comes back to. You're correct, you're correct, you're correct. And it is meant to be in a big way, a big way, a big way. And you are also correct that as a natural byproduct of that, there will be so much money flow, and that is not spiritually bad or wrong. Please, it can be made spiritually bad or wrong, but for some of us, our calling is simply to steward a lot of wealth and a lot of impact and to speak into the lives of a lot of people, and a byproduct of that, and also how we're able to invest and sow and do what we're meant to do, is going to be a big money flow. That's a reality. In whose book is it big? It's definitely not a lot of money in God's book. And if you're hanging around with humans who think it's a lot of money, you maybe need some new humans. Yeah? You got to join my Play Life Society. We start today, 6 weeks on this stuff, the actual practical application on the business side as well. thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. So we're bringing with us the certain knowing. Oh my gosh, I just said that as my sister's comment popped up saying the deep certain knowing. Oh, sister synchronicity. We're bringing with us, as Jess said right here at the same time that my spirit was popping through with it, the deep certain knowing about things you're meant to do, and the deep certain knowing, thank you Jess, about who it is you are. Yes, there's parts you don't know yet, but stop questioning the parts that you do just know, because maybe you took it and built your own little like Frankenstein version of it over there. That doesn't make the fundamentals of it wrong. That just means let's set aside the Frankenstein version of it for now, or like completely for now. Let's just set that aside. Burn it to the ground. Yeah? But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't throw out the fact of who you are and who God has always shown you to be. Whether or not you brought God into it, he still showed you. So you know that a lot of money is meant to come through you. You know that there is a big impact for you to have in the world. You know that your message is meant to be going out to millions of people or whatever it is. You know that your book should be on bookshelves everywhere. You know you should be sitting in rooms that nobody even knows exist. And I don't mean the cupboard float tank that I crawled into yesterday. You just know it. And you also know that if you were put in that room right now, you might feel nervous in your human, for sure, of course, right? You might wonder why on earth you didn't bother to do your hair properly, or something that I would wonder about myself. But then you're just going to own it, because it's not even about you, and it's an anointing. It's an anointing and an appointed time that occurs as soon as you go into the literal location where that time is now. Yeah? All of the things that are for you are already complete supernaturally. There is a literal location for that. How do you physically manifest them? How do you see the physical manifestation of the deep certainty of who you are and what you are? How do you see it physically manifested? You go into the place where it exists. You go into the literal location, which is the spirit realm. You see your butt down in there, and you wait, and you act only as told and shown, and you see more and know more and discern more and understand more, and therefore naturally bring back more, the more that you essentially seek that and look for it and allow it and say yes to it. So you're not trying to pop in to the spirit realm for a quick little 5 minutes because you've got a busy day ahead and you need to produce this outcome right now, or you think you should already be here, and here. And so you're like, let me just pop my head in through the door and get something that I can then bring back to the physical. Somebody asked, I'm sorry, but somebody asked at the start, how can I just manifest fast money right now? No, like that can happen in a heartbeat, obviously. Miracles, normal, everyday, provision, God delivering, promises, prayer, like that stuff can happen in a heartbeat. But so I'm not making the question bad or wrong inherently. I'm certainly not judging it. Goodness knows I've asked exactly those questions a million times myself. But I'm just letting you know that the vibe here is not like, I need this right now, I need this right now, I need this right now. Let me just pop my head through the door into the spirit realm. Let me just go supernatural with this so that I can like fix this situation. Who told you to fix that situation? That you created. Doesn't mean you need to fix it because you created it. It will be fixed when you go in to where you're meant to be. And yes, that could result, if you're way off track or even a little bit off track in your life, yeah, it could totally result in some stuff blowing up and getting uncomfortable in your human life. What do you want? You want to keep going down that path because you're trying to hedge your bets and just like claw your way ahead to not have things fall apart in that way, but never go into the supernatural, never go into the spirit, never go into what actually is there for you, never go into your path of true destiny because you just didn't want to like free fall that final bit because it was too freaking scary and you just needed to hold on? Is that what you want? I don't think anybody here wants that. Does anybody here want that? So sorry, not sorry, but you're going to have to hand over the stuff that you think you need right now or else you're going to have to hand it over. I'm not saying that's going to be easy, except when you're supernaturally empowered and equipped, it's pretty freaking easy. You just do it. Because where we're going, that can't come. You're not popping your head in the door of the supernatural realm to get a quick fix on something so that you can then go back and keep doing what you're already doing and being who you're already being that created that outcome. That's not how the lessons work. That's not how life works. And it's also not what you actually want, is it? What you want is to be able to fully let go. What you want is to be able to be in rest. What you want is to be able to be in just being in your purpose, which is your being, and that whatever is produced comes forth, is like sown, harvested, gathered, reaped, etc., is just a byproduct. Because you're just like, well, I'm going to go and sit there, and then when I go there, I happen to do this, talk about this, flow and this. Oh, look, that's how I do my social media. Oh, look, that's how I launch. Oh, look, yeah, let's do it this way. Oh, look, the marketing just kind of happened like that. Oh, you know what? That thing that I was making so complicated and hard, I think I'm just going to do it like that. That's what you want. And fear and patterning and just constructs of what we think success looks like is, but I just need to fix this thing right here, right now, though. I just have to have that happen right now. Because otherwise I don't feel good enough, or I don't feel safe, or I'm not where I need to be. And it's a cycle. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle that just keeps you. So turn away from all of it and instead look through that door of, okay, I'm understanding that there's a different location that's available for me right now. There's a physical realm and there's a spirit realm. You already know that through whatever ways you already know it. Let's go there. How do we do that? Time, space, surrender, prayer, handing over, opening ourselves up to what God actually has to show us, listening, hearing, waiting, stillness, softening, willingness, obedience to God, obedience to truth, obedience to what's actually coming through our spirit in a right way. This doesn't necessarily mean like a massive practice of time. I don't necessarily mean that, but I don't not mean that, because if you're putting a massive practice of time into trying to produce outcomes from fear, then it would behoove you to take that time out of that and put it into a massive practice of time of dropping into faith and flow in God, right? Maybe you're going to learn something. Definitely. What's going to happen is you're going to be taken in to the spiritual realm, which is a place of deep certainty and knowing, and it's the place where your destiny exists. It's the literal place where the things that are for you exist. Do you get it? The literal place, the literal location. All these things that you know and that you've always known are true for you. That is the location where they exist. That's the place. So it does look like stillness, calm. It looks like stop, firstly, which is kind of what we started to do here. Stop. Let's put all of that aside. Let's put all of the things I thought I needed to do to grow or flow the thing or to fix something or to get somewhere. Let's put all of the ideas aside of what I thought my process should be. Let's keep the knowing of who I really am, the deep knowing of who I really am as a writer, speaker, messenger, coach, person who has things to share that are meant to come through them, etc. Let's keep all of that. Let's stop. And let's let go. And let's start looking at, well, what exists in the spirit realm that doesn't exist in the physical? Now, this does just take time, particularly if you've been in a practice of reactiveness, fear, doing things your own way, then it needs to be repatterned. You're not going to stop and drop in a heartbeat usually, unless something like snapped you in, like something happened and it was a charge, like an energetic charge, like something happened that was either very exciting or traumatic or worrying or whatever, and that can snap you straight in. But aside from that, if your pattern is go, go, go and start and rush and fear and react and always trying to get to the next thing, then it is just going to take you literal time. That's a reality. You need to train yourself out of that pattern and train into a different pattern. So you have so much that is available for you. Like the more that you know that is available for you in the other place, in the spiritual realm, then the more that you are going to need to discipline yourself to be in there, no matter whether you feel like you're just wasting time, you're being flaky, you're just sitting around now. Shouldn't you be out there doing all that stuff? You want to change the pattern or not change the pattern? Which is it? So it is stillness, it's exhale, it's letting go. And it's asking, well, what exists in that place? What is true about the supernatural realm? What is true about the spirit realm that's not true physically? Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's true that the things which exist in the spirit realm can't be seen in the physical. The things that are for you in the spirit realm, so the manifestation, doesn't exist in the physical realm. 1 second. Sam, can you please go into my Facebook Live and start blocking people? There's a ton of spammy people that are just joining that live. The numbers are going up over there and it's just spammy people. I mean, whatever, I guess we could do it afterwards, but since Sam's there, I'll get her to start blocking them. Okay, so the things that exist in the spirit realm, the manifestation of the outcome essentially. So if it's for you, then yes, business flowing in a certain way, money flowing in a certain way, the divinely ordained relationship that you're meant to have, the calm, the ease, the self-control, the discipline, the good fruits of the spirit essentially, those things all exist in the spirit realm. One of those things is definitely your own belief, faith, and trust, right? Is it true? Yes, it is true that when you are spiritually tapped in, when you go into the spirit realm, when you're in that place, that you feel certain, you feel belief, you know that the things that are for you are for you. You just know it. You drop into a certainty. Now, if you've been doing a counterfeit version of dropping in, then it's a counterfeit certainty and it still has a dis-ease beneath it, but it feels like temporarily calming or relaxing or relieving. And you know that you're doing a counterfeit version if you're always seeking the next hit or the next, I don't know, like journey or ceremony or process or whatever, because you're just constantly trying to get to actual peace and actual calm, and you're doing it all in an ungodly way, in a dangerous way, in a spiritually destructive way. That's how you know it's not the real thing, because you never actually get to a place of true calm and certainty. You get to what feels like a version of it, and then you're always kind of looking for the next thing, or you're fascinated by what your friend over here is doing with their latest ceremony or practice or going into the jungle for whatever, all that stuff, right? We don't have to go on and on about it. But that's a counterfeit version. It's also spiritually dangerous. It's also devastating. It's not going to bring you fulfillment, alignment, the blessings that are there for you, or any of those things. It's going to bring you a version of, which is like how people get trapped in it. So when you're truly in the right place and you go in to the spirit realm, you will have faith. You will believe. You will be certain. Because why? Because you are not seeing with your physical eyes anymore. You're seeing with your spirit. And so you're able to be shown, therefore, just with certainty, this is for me. I am going to be speaking, writing, showing up, coaching, mentoring, doing business, money, life this way. And I just know it, right? I just know it. Have you ever felt that? Like, I just know it. And then next minute you snap back into the very physical reality of whatever's going on in your life, or you get an upsetting message or email, or you look at your bank account, or you look at all the vastness of the stuff that you've not yet done or attended to in business or whatever it is, and then you're just kind of like, all right, well, okay, maybe that's not, or maybe it's not going to happen, or maybe I do have to do all of this stuff over there. And so you snap back into old patterns. When what needs to be happening instead is an understanding and a choice that what I see in the spirit realm is the real. And when I come back out of it and I'm into overthinking, fear, anxiety, worry, or just trying to get there all the time, that is seeing with my eyes, not my spirit. And if I'm going to keep doing that and choosing that that's real and then reacting to it, then I am only ever going to be able to get what is available through my own physical effort, exertion, will, intellect, etc., which can short-term be good, seem to be good, but never ever feels expanded, landed, and dropped in, because there's a knowing that that's not the real thing, the all-in thing, and it always combusts in the end in some way. And then you can get addicted to the cycle of pulling it back together again in your own strength. Eventually you're going to get tired, or you just have endless numbings, addictions, mental health stuff, whatever going on that just can't seem to be dealt with, or it blows up other areas of your life. Yeah. So instead it needs to be, I go into the literal location where these things exist. I go into the location where faith is, where certainty is, where belief is, where calm is, where true peace in my spirit is in God, where it only can be. And in that location, as I sit there, stay there, and learn to live there, meaning learn to do your whole life through that place. It doesn't mean you're floating around like a zombie. You're a human being, yeah? But it's a tapped inness. And how that comes about is that you repeatedly start to practice a connection truly with God and with his spirit, and your own spirit, intuition, inner knowing, resting in him. And that practice will flow into your day and your life. And at first, it's going to require a structured discipline, mornings, multiple times a day. And really that structure should actually follow, because it's getting your charge, your true supernatural charge. And bit by bit though, as you build on a structure and a discipline of let me go in, let me surrender ideas that I need to know everything now or have everything fixed now, let me just go in and see what I'm shown there, let my faith build, my belief build, my peace build, my inner knowing build, my resting in God is building. As you do that, you'll be shown more and more like, oh, I'm going to do this move. And you can ask as well. I'm asking for an answer on this. Asking in surrender. Doesn't mean like I have to have an answer or else. I'm asking and I'm rightfully expecting that I will receive an answer on such and such thing, because I know that it's right for me to move forward in some way as a writer, speaker, coach, whatever it is. So there's a correct, true answer for how that looks. There's a correct, true answer for how the next phase of your business growth looks. There's a correct, true answer for how your current marketing should look. There is a correct, true answer for how your social media should grow. There is a correct, true answer for a lot of stuff that you probably don't have to do at all. There's a correct, true answer for the way you will bring those big legacy projects to life, or forge those connections, or go to that next place, or have that quantum leap with money. So you can ask, and or you can just be in the practice of going in to the place where your entire path of destiny exists. That's the location of it. So when you get into the habit and the life of living there and practicing, I'm just going to tell Sam to leave it on the Facebook Live, and practicing doing life from that place, you will naturally, automatically start to see, know, be shown, and just have come through you the physical actions that you then need to take. Does that make sense? Does anyone have a question about that? That's what we're looking for. We're understanding that there's a literal location for the things that are for you. We're accepting that the things that you know are for you are for you. You didn't make it up, and you're not wrong. You may have done your own Frankenstein version of it, and so you've got that tangled up into an idea in your head that maybe it's not for you after all. Put all of that aside. What's for you is for you. We're also going into an understanding, point 3, that where we're going, those things can't come. Your ideas of how things need to grow, or what you need to do, or how you're going to produce money or build a business or build a life, those things are not coming. So that's happening. 4, we're going to have a practice and a discipline of going into that place, because that's the location where the full unfolding of your destiny exists. So we're going to add structure in. Mornings, a couple of times a day, stop, drop and roll into time and space with God. Let it be a void. Let it be you've no idea what's going on or what you're learning, because that's how it is going to be at first. Be willing to be in the uncertainty. That's the only way. Not just short term, like there's always going to be the next void to drop into, that's how you're meant to be living, because we're not meant to be living by our own sight and our own ideas, but instead being shown and guided and led. That's what we are designed for. That's safe. That's correct. That's right. You've just been trained differently by the world. Well, unless you want to live like the world and have that as your barometer, then get out of that training. So it's not wrong, it's safe and right and correct that you don't know, that you're only being shown moment by moment, breath by breath on many, many things. And then there's some things that you will know with more certainty whenever and however God shows them to you. But what you can be sure of is that you're going to find what's for you by repeatedly going into that place, so much so with that discipline and practice that the next step would be that it just becomes your natural. It becomes your natural to operate from the supernatural. Doesn't mean your mind, will, emotions, ideas, distractions, delays, etc. won't pop up now and again and you'll derail yourself, because you will, because you're human, but you'll see it for what it is and you'll be able to just snap back out of it and go, okay, God, let me come back into you. Let me stop, drop and roll into what's there. And I'm asking for an answer on this. I know that it's for me, that my writing, my speaking, my coaching, my business, my money, my whatever is going to grow and flow in these sort of ways. That's definite. I'm asking to be shown how, or just what the next step is, really. Or where should my focus be right now? Because maybe it's not on that at all. And maybe the way that that thing grows is your focus is meant to be over here, completely somewhere different. Good, I answered a question without reading it. I always like to do that. So, it's a big topic. My intention today was to give you some powerful reflection and to talk about the fact that there is a literal location for your path of destiny, and to encourage you to start to attend that location as a practice. I could not possibly teach every different thing about even this one topic in a 90-minute live stream. I wanted to really get you into that seeing beyond your sight, to whatever degree that occurred for you. Maybe some key takeaways for you that you can let me know. And I wanted to get you into that connection point where you can feel the truth of what I've spoken through today, and that there's something more for you to learn and know there. So really the outcome from today is there's something more for you to learn and know. You need to go on your journey of finding that. You need to go on your journey of seeking that with God. That's your purpose. When you seek God, you will find the answers to all the things, and all the things that are meant to be created through you will occur. So now though, the action that you might like to take, if you'd like to be personally coached, guided, supported, and butt kicked in exactly the right aligned way by me, would be to go to thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society and join my new 6-week course, the Play Life Rule Breaker Society. This is a course for entrepreneurs, leaders, creative business owners who are ready to see their business, their money, their audience growth, their structure, their marketing, their sales, their systems, all of that quantum leap, not just to the next level, like let's grow it a bit, but actually what this is about is snapping you to where it already should be right now. So this is supernatural activation. That's what we're doing. And what we're going to be doing is going deep into principles of supernatural activation and receiving. And then we're going to be looking exactly at how you specifically will apply those to your business. This is a group course. It's not private coaching, but the way I group mentor is such that the specific blueprint and how for you will be revealed. And so this is a very practical course. This is very practical around what needs to be happening right now for your business to grow to that next place that it already should be at right now. What needs to happen right now in your marketing, in your soulmate client attraction, in your systems. Believe me, that part is like a lot easier than what you think, and it's just not in the way that you think. Marketing, did I say? Selling, launching, offer creation, having the right people show up at all different price points, knowing the price points, letting it all come together, knowing how to structure your time, discipline, where your focus should actually go as an entrepreneur, whether you've got 2 hours or 20 hours a week, what that should be spent on, where it is best going to serve you. So this is the energetic, it's the supernatural, it's the spiritual, it's the identity, married with the hands-on, the practical, the let's take freaking action, because this 6 weeks with me, which starts today, Later today, my time is when the group will open, and I will be dropping in a video that is our foundation prep work, and it's all to do with stripping back to that raw, real, this is who it's meant to be version of you, so that you can plainly, clearly see the vision that we will then be bringing to life over the coming 6 weeks, or seeing be brought to life is a better way to say it. And so then our week 1 will officially kick off after today. You'll still be able to join for a few days, but don't delay. Get in right now. It's at the katrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. It's the Play Life Rule Breaker Society, because we're breaking rules of what an industry or people tell us it should have to be. And the concept is, let's tear it all down and build something actually fun. Work with me for 6 weeks to go from boring, blah, typed out, not sure what you're doing or how on earth it's going to grow, to cannot even take my eyes off that woman, because you're so walking in your flow and your magnetism, and the results are coming, the growth is coming, the structure is in place, you know what to sell, how to sell it. You're just able to show up every day and be who you're meant to be. This is the first time in however long, I don't even remember when I last did a brand new, very raw, unapologetically be fully you sort of a course. I do a lot of courses. I've created hundreds of courses over the past few years. My business has produced tens of millions of dollars, my coaching business. I've coached and mentored the best of the best in the female entrepreneur space, and the best of the best in many other industries outside of the entrepreneur space online as well for years. And what I do is I flick that switch inside of you through the things that I allow through me, thank you God, that activates, points at something, and just drops it all to where you can see it clearly for what it's meant to be. And then I do work with you on the structured side of the business side. And I do that in a completely different way to what you've ever experienced, because we're tapped in. We get you tapped in so that you're being who you're meant to be, such that you can clearly see and understand the moves that need to be made. And so this is for entrepreneurs, for leaders, for those who are just ready for their business to snap to where it all should be. It's a 6-week course. It's a live course, which means I'll be teaching each module each week live. Don't ask me for the times, because I only ever announce week by week to account for the fact that I have clients all around the world, and I always just mix the times a little bit, and it always just works. It always just works. Dominantly, my clients don't live here in Australia where I live. There's some people that do live here, but I'm accounting for the fact that my clients are all around the world. We have paying customers in over 120 countries, so I'm not trying to work on one time zone here, yeah? So it just works, and I announce the call times week by week, and of course there's replays as well, and then there's additional trainings and curriculums that I give. I'll be in the group live. I'm teaching this live. You'll be getting to know me. I'll be getting to know you. There'll be no escaping, no hiding. This is a low-cost investment for a 6-week course. This is not private mentoring. I have just on the D-Low, somewhat on the D-Low, I sent one email, so not on the D-Low, I guess, done an invite just for a few people for a brand new private client, very intimate, 100K mastermind. This is for those who are already crushing and you want to get those consistent 100K months and beyond. I'll be teaching these principles in the Play Life Society. I'm teaching everything you need to know as an entrepreneur from a perspective of it has to be the way that it's meant to be for me. It has to be me, all in being me. Has to be raw, has to be stripped back, and it should freaking be already there. So let's just go there now. But I'm just mentioning the 100K mastermind in case you're like, I want the full private client experience, Kat, and I'm ready for that now. That's gonna be 10-week fully private, very intimate mastermind combined with private. So that's kind of a separate note. I'll only just mention that one quickly. But the Play Life Society, thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. We are going to open the group later today. I'm going to begin this work with you with the prep work, the foundation work, stripping it all back later today. And then we're going to be easing into week 1, and then we're going to be firing. We'll go for a 6 weeks full and a couple of extra weeks of time together in the group. Do anything you can to join me in this course, because I only run this sort of raw, stripped back, go all in, being you as an entrepreneur kind of a course once a year or so. And I always do it when I'm in a landing and expanding and stripping stuff off in my own life phase. And so it always just brings that next level of activation, because it's coming from a place of me currently being in that next iteration of becoming me. This is the best way to teach. It's my favorite way to teach. It's why these courses traditionally, whenever I've done one of these raw strip back type courses, have always been the most powerful things that I've done, and they're the ones that everybody talks about for years to come. So like all the previous ones, this one will be available home study afterwards for years to come, and it's always going to be a vibe, but that is not the same as joining live. So once again, thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. If you do have a question about it, feel free to DM me, and I'll be jumping into my DMs later on throughout the day, and Sam will be in there in the meanwhile helping out where she can. This was amazing. I'm going to end it there. I didn't even know Instagram lets you talk for that long. I thought they cut you off for after an hour, actually. So if you did just jump on, watch the replay. It'll be posted in a moment. Have an amazing rest of the day or evening wherever you are in the world. I'm so glad to get to share this work with you. And I cannot wait to see you inside the Play Life Society. Let's tear it all down, build something actually fun, and get your business to where it already should be now. Don't forget, life is now present.